Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to attend the meeting and welcome to the Know Your PES Young Professional event. I'm Bo Wang and I'm the US and Canada regional representative of IEEE PES Young Professional. I hope you have a good time as you will hear the journeys of these young professionals in their power and energy profession. Conrad, please go ahead and start the meeting.
Right, perfect. Yeah, thank you very much, Bo. Thank you very much for the presence for everyone here. We know that's a Saturday afternoon, so I'm really glad that you found time to share your experience with us. Today we have three great speakers here with like a huge experience on IEEE, PS, and also young professionals. So the idea is to share their experience so we as new young professionals, we can learn from them and try to do the same path to have the success that they have nowadays. Okay. So let me share my screen here and start to introduce the speakers. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So our first speaker is Anand Sara. Anand received his bachelor engineering degree in electrical engineering and master engineer degree in electrical engineering from Gujarat Technological University, India, and University of Victoria, Canada, 2012 and 2017, respectively. He's currently working as a distribution automation engineer at PowerTech Labs. Anand has more than 7 years of experience in transmission and distribution industry. He has served as the Membership Development Vice Chair for Region 7 for over 2 years. His current volunteer positions involve commitment sharing from section level to region level to conference committee, as well as IEEE Day 2021 as Vice Chair. He's involved with IEEE PS Vancouver section as Vice Chair and PSSI Communication Subcommittee as Chair. He's also working with GHTC 2021 conference as a Vice Chair, Rising Stars 2021 conference as an organizing committee member, and NMDC 2021 conference as local arrangements chair. Thank you very much, Anand, for your presence here. Our next speaker is Sharanjeevi Bala Kotahu. Bala works for Burns and McDonnell as a senior electrical engineer. Bala got his master's from University of Massachusetts and bachelor's from JNTU, India, focused on power energy engineering. Bala has been with the electrical utility industry for over 8 years and is an active member of IEEE for over 12 years. He's currently serving as on the IEEE PS Long Range Planning Committee and as a member of IEEE Energy Policy Committee. His interests are climate change, clean energy, lightning protection, ground analysis, substation design, optimization techniques, and applications on renewable energy forecasting. Thank you very much, Bala. Our third speaker is Lysian Leon. Lysian received her bachelor electrical engineering from Universidade Nacional de Engenharia on adaptability, flexibility, and proactive and resiliency with disruptive ideas. She has certificates on high impact and business strategies and regulation and energy markets. She's a business development partner, Renewables in Engine Group, where she also worked as a project engineer on renewable energy and green mobility. Liz has 6 years on IEEE membership, being leader in different positions such as WISH section, coordinator, and other roles in IEEE PS Peru, secretary and current treasurer. She's a Latin America IEEE Woman in Power representative and have led the first and second mentoring program. Thank you very much for your presence, Lizzie.
Thanks.
Perfect. So thank you very much for all your time and dedication to be here today. I'm really glad to have like some old friends here. We hope that this session here, all the attendees can learn a little bit, can get like some tips and indications like how to have like success in their YP journey as well. So the idea of this session is gonna be like more questions and answers. So we have like a few questions just to understand your background and your experience over the YP journey. And some of the questions for the 3 speakers, and some of the questions is for 1 person or 2 people. So we are going to define that, and each speaker is going to have like 2 minutes to answer each question. Okay, perfect. So the first question that I have here is more like to understand your background. So I'd like to invite first Bala to explain your educational background and also your cultural background. Not about the professional side, but like where did you grow up? If you moved for a new country, how was this experience? So just to understand a little bit about your background. Okay, over
And
to you,
that's an
Bala.
interesting question, man. So, well, I mean, I was born in Hyderabad, which is southern part of the India. It's very hot there, so I figured it's too hot for me, so I moved to Boston for my master's. Well, I mean, I did my undergrad in Hyderabad, and back in the day, at that time, there wasn't a lot of research on energy forecasting or any RES related topics in the local universities there. So I thought I would move into US where regulation on the energy industry is much higher and much tighter. So I figured there's a university here in Massachusetts that kind of works on a similar topic. So I moved here, but so my culturally, I'm Indian, South Indian. I speak Telugu and Hindi, which is a national language for our country. And moving here, Boston, I kind of picked a little bit of accent from here, but no, I'm still culturally back home. Now I live in a city called Atlanta. It's in southern part of the U.S. I started missing the hot weather, so I thought I would move into the southern part of the U.S. and figure it out. So after living in Boston for about 8, 9 years, I'm here in Atlanta, exploring the new city.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's really interesting. All this moving. Our next speaker is Anand.
Hi everyone, my name is Anand Shah, and as Bala mentioned, I am also originally from India. I'm from the west part of India, Gujarat, and I did my bachelor's back at Gujarat Technological University. I mean, as he mentioned, that there are not much options to do exploring in the energy sector in the country. So my main focus was to get some higher education. So I planned to move to Canada in 2014, and I did my master's at University of Victoria in British Columbia. Again, University of Victoria in British Columbia is the west coast of Canada. So I moved from west coast of India to west coast of Canada, and we consider it as a west coast, but you can sell it as a west coast. So, and I think I'm working with PowerTech Labs as a electrical engineer since last 4 years, and overall the journey from moving from India, doing bachelor's there, and doing masters here was a incredible journey. Like learning a lot and meeting new people, and even joining IEEE after moving to Canada was a bit of a change in my career perspective as well. Like meeting a lot of people and getting to know about different sector. So I would say it's a fantastic journey while doing some kind of volunteering as well as working in Canada. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anand. Now I have Lysian.
Hi, how are you for everybody? I'm Lysian. I'm 25 years old. I got my bachelor uh 2018, I guess. Yeah, and now I'm pursuing my master degree. Um, I will apply this November to Europe universities. So that's about me. I live in Peru, and I live in Peru all my life, and I visit different countries by IEEE PS conference. That's it.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Lysian. It's nice to see like how I can come from different countries and just meeting like a virtual conference and with the same thing, like just putting us together as the IEEE and PS. So thank you very much, everyone. Before I go for the next question, I just would like to invite everyone that's watching the session on YouTube or Facebook. Feel free to drop any question that you have in the chat box, because we can have access to these questions, and we are going to be assigned for the speakers in a little bit. Okay. So our next question is again for the three speakers. This is more for the professional side. So if you can speak a little bit about the companies that you have worked and the kind of jobs that you did, like something like if it was like more projects, more like hands-on, this kind of like a thing that you can say about your jobs, and also the roles and responsibilities that you have during these journeys. So we are going to start now with Anand.
Hello, everyone. So I think I already mentioned that I'm working for PowerTech Labs as an electrical engineer, but for my role, I am working as an engineer, but also doing some kind of project management. So taking an example for a distribution devices, which we work on, like distribution automation, we have to do everything starting from testing, commissioning, as well as doing kind of project management with the company who's the project for, as well as doing the vendor consultation. So the device have some kind of issues, we get back to the vendor. So it's helping me to enrich everywhere, like also enriching my engineering skills, as well as doing some kind of management skills upgradation, like talking to vendors and resolving the problems, or doing any kind of troubleshooting with the vendor, with the vendor as well as the company for which we are working for. And then it helps us to do kind of time management, cost management, and different engineering perspective, which can be taken into consideration for future project management skills. And I would say, along with all of this, I still do a lot of IEEE volunteering, which is like mainly for IEEE General as well as IEEE PES. And it's like work-life balance is the main thing we need to balance. We need to check, because my manager as well as my director are supportive on this particular work. And like even though if there is any kind of meeting between my work hours, I'm still allowed to do that work, as well as take the calls on, and like do adjustment between my volunteering role, my work life, and like my family life as well. So that is good that the companies are being supportive for all the IEEE volunteers. Thank you.
It's fantastic. Yeah, like one of the big questions about young professionals, like how you're going to deal with your like volunteer activities and also your job. So
Yes.
if your supervisor is like open to that, that's fantastic. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Anand. Now I'd like to invite Lysian.
Okay, about my job, I started my first summer internship in mining projects. Then I applied to an energy company where I am until now. In this company, first I was in commercial area, and then in the development area. I also received support from human resources department to make conference in our theater of the company, conference about IEEE PES, and to recruit new members from our company, and that was really pretty nice. Now I am a business development partner. Uh, in my first year, I developed green mobility projects, and this year I developed renewable projects. And in the first year in green mobility, I was in charge of the implementation of e-chargers in malls here in Peru, and now I'm in charge the prospection of new sites to develop our new renewable plants. I really like to think that our projects we developed help more Peruvians have more clean energy in their homes to contribute sustainable development goals. And number 7, insurance access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Lysian. And now I'd like to invite Bala.
Hey, so, well, could you please repeat the question? I got carried away with all the interesting stuff rest of the folks were talking
Definitely. This one is about like your professional journey. So like companies that work and like roles and responsibilities.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So I started my career working for a company called Eversource. It's a utility here in the US. Back in the day, it was called Enstar. It was a very great culture. I never worked back home in India except for doing internships and extended co-ops and power plants and steel plants kind of stuff. So moving here, new culture, new country, Eversource was a great start for me. I actually got my internship through IEEE connections, attending the meetings here in Boston. So even my internships were through IEEE Hyderabad section, IEEE PS Hyderabad section. They helped me get connected and get entered into this internships and co-ops. So yeah, well, so ever since I worked as a transmission line engineering group with the group, I did both overhead and underground transmission projects, supported people on working those. Then my first real job was at Black and Veatch. I started with as a regular, normal substation engineer. Started doing design and stuff slowly. Black and Veatch had a great culture. They had a good layer structure so that you will grow within the company as starting as an engineer, as an individual contributor to a responsible person hanging around with the team and helping everyone grow with you, right? So yeah, I spent a lot of time at Black and Veatch. We developed an office group, substation design group there. Helped collaborate with the IEEE chapter in UMass, the university I studied at. We started a course to teach the stuff that we do in the office, so we could train them and hire them as full times and interns. So we did great stuff like that in Boston. Now I'm with Bunsen McDonnell, and the interesting thing is this job too. When they reached out to a few people to find out about me, all of them are IEEE connections. So it's a small community, but it's a big enough that you just come across someone from IEEE. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's been great so far. Currently, I'm working as a senior electrical engineer. So I'm working on a program for improving reliability in Georgia, state of Georgia. So we got a lot of substation work that we're doing. But the best part of my job, I would say, is going into the office and solving a problem on a daily basis. And every day it's a new problem, right? So you're going to see a project from start to finish, but then the real fun stuff happens when you're solving problems in between. So we have, I'm on the owner's engineer lead. So we have certain engineering firms doing the ground line design too. So we're every day looking at new projects, every day solving new problems. So it's an exciting place to be, exciting times for power engineering career.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing, Bala. Now I go for another question. This question is especially for Lysian. And if you can just speak a little bit about like what are the barriers that you see for women entering the field of power energy? It's hard to get a job, like, or to transit between different positions. So if you can share a little bit your point of view about it.
Yes. Well, from my point of view, many women are constrained by social norms and discouraged from pursuing technical careers. Focus, for example, in power or energy. Others face discrimination during the hiring process and in the workplace. Women in energy often lack role models and peer support that could increase their confidence and provide career opportunities. I think we have to change it. I know we have a long way to go, but we are working towards diversity and inclusion, and I consider that it's important thing. Just yesterday, I talked to my boss, and he encouraged me about something in our work. So I really think that we start small steps, but we have to continue working on that.
That's great. Thank you very much for sharing. And like the YP is like doing like a really nice job as well, like just sharing all these opportunities and working for this equity, right? Thank you very much for sharing. The another question is for Bal and Anand. If you can say like three key skills that young professionals should have like to enter in the power energy sector. Let's start with Bala now.
I was going to say, let's throw Anand under the bus here. Yeah,
sorry,
let's have Anand go first.
Sorry, you want me to go first?
Yeah, it's you, man.
Sorry, can you just repeat the question once?
Yeah, so like three key skills that you think that young professionals should have to enter in the power energy field.
So I would say to enter the power energy field, it's like typically if you are good at making network connections. So as Bala and myself mentioned, that a lot of young professionals we were able to get in touch with local PES chapters or local IEEE chapters, and getting a lot of networking helped us to get our co-ops or like full-time or any kind of help with the jobs or like references. So I mean, networking skill, like speaking skill as well, is one of the thing which will be useful for every young professional like around the globe. It's not only US or Canada but everywhere. The second one would be a kind of time management. So giving an example for myself, if I'm committing myself for a lot of volunteering roles, I have a family as well, I have a full-time job, and then doing volunteering roles, you need to do a lot of time management. So that skill might be required for everyone depending on their perspective. Like a lot of people might be more committed to their job, but I mean, as I told you, I do love volunteering a lot. So I mean, giving an example for my daily job, even though after like 8 hours of work, I still have at least couple hours of call for different IEEE activities every single day. So that's a bit of major commitment, but then I am happy for now, and it might be changing in future. But that is one of the skill you need if you are going to do multiple things together. And I mean, third would be to enrich yourself with more knowledge in your particular field. So for YP in PS, like I am not doing any kind of research work right now, but I mean, for example, if I am going to be in a field where I'm going to do more research, then getting up to date with more knowledge and getting in touch with the engineering experts in the field might be one more thing which you can take on your plate.
That's great. Yeah, I think like these are really interesting points, and hopefully, like most of the YPs here, they are looking for that. The YP, the PSYP, they can offer this kind of skills, right? So any kind of volunteering position, they can get that. But thank you very much for sharing, and
we have a lot of programs within the IEEE PES as well to promote ourselves, like a lot of PS DLP program, and then a lot of mentorship programs. So it's like you should be open to more resources as when you require. Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, thank you very much. Now over to Bala.
Now I got too much pressure, man. Well, let me start by saying this. The power and energy field is not. It's not really different from any other domain of jobs, right? It's similar to any other sector. The only thing I see is the sector itself. It changes from country to country depending on the policy, the regulation, how the market is set up. So the characteristics that you need, or the skill set that you need to enter the power energy field as an entry level engineer is going to be the same irrespective of you go for a computer science job or an electronics job or in a hardcore power systems job. What I would want to say is one really key thing that you need if you're getting into electrical engineering, power systems kind of energy sector jobs is that anything you do is really going to have an impact on your day-to-day life. If not for you personally, it's going to have an impact on a larger scale to your community. So this is my apartment, and I don't know if you guys can see. Okay, that's a substation right there, and that's a substation I'm going to be working on in 2024. It's listed for an upgrade in 2024. So I'm really passionate about what I'm doing. But I mean, I would say whatever I do on a day-to-day basis is going to impact that substation out there. Right. And if my design is not right or something like that, the lights might not be on. So your day-to-day work is not going to have a direct impact immediately that you won't see it. But just keep in mind that it would have a larger impact down the line, maybe a few months from there on. It's not like an app that you're developing and it might get hit or not. It's not like that. It's a real job. And this is the boots on the ground kind of work domain. So it's the same thing with the distribution automation that Anand is doing, and Listen is doing the business development. So all the business ideas that she's coming up with and how to integrate the EV charging stations, everything, it's going to have an impact on people every single day. So I think the most important skill set and the only skill set that you need to have is being motivated to what you want to do and knowing what you're going to be doing, right? And that only comes through mentorship and having exposure to a lot of resources. So you speak with a lot of people, you torture them with questions and figure out what they're doing, and maybe something you'll find that is exciting for you. And if you land in the energy sector, then great. You can probably go out of your office every day and say, hey, I made a difference today, right? So I think that's that's it.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Bala. Now we have like one question for the
So motivation is the one and only skill.
perfect, and like take actually like this is the input for the next question for the three speakers is like how to get motivated and how did you make this transition between like be a student member to the YP member? So what was the key factor? What brought you like, oh, I want to be engaged with the IEEE and PS even like after my graduation or during my master's and even in a company? So let's start with Lizzie right now.
Okay. Well, from my side, I also involved in PES and in Women in Power, and I think Women in Power helped me a lot in my transition to be a professional, because my motivation, like and Bala, it's correct my pronunciation for you. Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
Bala, that's how I go.
Okay, if Bella said, motivation is the key. For me, giving women equal opportunities to pursue energy careers, such electrical engineering, energy engineering, or any variation, helps narrow the gender pay gap, enhance women's economic security, and ensures diverse and talent workforce. Um, I really, uh, I really believe in those all those things. So, being in PS and Women in Power increased my motivation for my career and my volunteering. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing that. Now we move for Anand.
So I would say, I mean, I will be very honest here. I was a IEEE member, but I was not a IEEE PS member when I was back in school, because nobody even like bothered us asking about joining the membership for IEEE student member. But I mean, being a member, we see the advantages and we see how we can help ourselves by doing networking or any kind of growth opportunities, like lots of people meeting in the different sectors. For me, when I met a lot of people from like for Vancouver, we have a local electrical utility company called BC Hydro, and I met a lot of BC Hydro folks in IEEE meetings. And that's when I thought like, oh, this is the dream job I wanted to do, and I wanted to be in this field. Like, I mean, I was from power background, but I never planned to settle at a particular company. And then meeting a lot of people through IEEE meetings or IEEE like local sections, I encouraged myself to go into this field. And then they were able to help me at least get in touch with some of the hiring managers or senior managers to give me some kind of guidance on what are the things we require for this particular job, or like what should I focus more on before I'm going for this particular applying for this particular position. So that was one of the aspect. And being a YP right now is a lot of different things. Like, I am able to get involved with a different people like all of you here. Like, I would have never met you guys if I wouldn't be a PSYP member. So that is one of it. And I've been getting involved with more IEEE PSYP around the globe, and probably doing a lot of networking to see how we can benefit ourselves as well as others was one of the thing why I'm getting involved with IEEE PSYPs.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Anand. Now we move to Bala.
Well, my motivation to join electrical engineering was a funny incident. I was told it's a challenging subject, so I thought let me go explore it and figure it out. It is challenging, but once you get to a rhythm with it, it's not very very challenging. But I mean, the industry is evolving every day, man. So there is always something new that will keep your spirits up and that will keep you engaged. Right? It's like feeding your brain with all the new questions that you can learn about, right? But one of my real motivation about joining the industry is that just the impact. You know, I mean, most of you are not that old, but if you see the trend of power industry, the 90s were the slowest pace, and they call it slowest pace, but really it hit a plateau at that time. The industry was like saturated. There's no new technology penetrating the system. So like it's just flatted out, right? So your growth is very, very, very stable at that point. However, a stable growth is never good, right? So you're gonna have to have some
counterspike. Yeah.
So nowadays, this was predicted back then. Like all the smart grid discussions that happened back then in early 2012, 13 time frame, right? All the smart grids, SCADA stuff, all those interesting things, and DER was just a topic back then. And right now, with the thanks to the governments, we're pumping in the money into the market for electric grid to be more reliable, more resilient, and more green and clean. The technology is integrating more, and it's becoming more and more complex and interesting. So the more complex it gets, the more interesting it becomes, right? For rest of us. So I think my motivation is to look at different stuff every single day and not get repetitive or bored out by doing same kind of job every day. So we got EV charging stations. That's one thing that we're working on. We're working on some stuff like energy policy. How is that impact local communities, and how are those going to impact your electric grid? We're looking at DR integrations and all that interesting topics and fun-filled exploring research mode that you can get into is actually my motivation to get into the industry.
That's really great. Thank you very much, Bala. And it's really important because like all the attendees here, they maybe they have these points in their membership, but they don't see like as a motivation, like you sharing this part from yourself. I think they can just clarify their ideas, and they can see like the real value of the membership as well. So thank you very much for available thoughts here. We have one question for one of the attendees from Madhu. This one is for Bala and Anand. Did you find the engineering practices followed in India and US, Canada different? If yes, sharing experience of the transition will be great.
Well, I'll take a first stab at it.
Okay.
I've seen a few stuff back home. So, the greatest difference that you can think about or to expect is that in India, we use European standards, right? Our standards are mostly lined up with the IEEE system. However, in the US, we got our own thing, ANSI IEEE, right? There's not a day and night difference in the system. Our standards that you use, they're all almost par. But then I have to be partial and say that the European standards, our European way of doing things, is a little more advanced than us, only because they had a head start on the renewables, right? They have a cluster of countries. We only have a cluster of states here. And there's only so much that our guys can pump into the market. So they got a very good head start on the wind energy. They got a very good head start on the RES, DER integrations and all that good stuff. And they're way ahead on the policy too, tariff regulations and all that stuff. Our side here, the US market is just evolving right now. Having said that, there is also this distribution automation side of things. Right. Traditionally, we did not have a lot of focus on distribution investments. In the US, the market trended such a way that your regulation was designed so that all utilities would invest a lot of money into your transmission projects. So everyone pumped a lot of money into transmission. But then, it's a big part of reliability, but then you can have amazing transmission system. But if your distribution system is messed up, you can't have, that 100% reliability that you're expecting. Right. So now the market is slowly trending back and pumping money into distribution. So the reason I talked about all this trend is that, Europe, you got very densely populated areas. Here you got very widespread, right? So they might have advanced standards in terms of distribution automation and stuff like that than us. And they're way ahead on some of those technologies. But if you're thinking about India versus US and Canada, your general engineering practices are going to be the same, but the way of how things are done, approach to the problem is going to be quite different, right? So that's a major thing that I felt coming from there. Safety is another big thing. I worked at a power plant back home, and I don't want to say a few things, but there wasn't much about safety except for the hard hat. But I went back last year and I saw a few things, and there's been great improvement back home, right? So ISO and all those the standards committees that they got there for the safety, they're doing a great job these days. So maybe there would be a point in a couple of years that everything would be at the same plane, man. So that's my answer.
That's great. Thank you very much, Bala. Now we move to Anand.
I mean, I would agree with everything as Bala mentioned, and I would just add something as well. So safety was definitely one of the major thing which I noticed in Canada. Like everything is like safety is the first thing. Like even if you are doing any small job, you should be checking your safety first as compared to getting the task done, which I never felt back in India. I mean, I haven't worked for long in India, but I mean the work culture there was a bit different as compared to here. And according to what Bara mentioned about the investments in the sectors and different particular areas, so I would say like I'm from distribution automation background, so I have seen like European countries are way ahead, and even US is way ahead of Canada in putting those things out, because I mean Canada is still a bit lagging from US sector in putting money into the distribution assets, and probably at in future there might be a point that everything is the same level, but like our main focus should be keeping the lights on. So it's not like just doing for one thing, you need to upgrade everything together, and not only upgrading the things, you need to upgrade yourself as well. If we don't follow the new technology, it's like we won't be able to survive, because there is a lot of new advancement coming in every devices, everything, every like SCADA integration, a lot of things. So if we don't update ourselves, we might be like just doing the old school thing, and then we won't be able to survive in the new market. And I mean, comparing to engineering practices back in India and Canada and US, I would say they are almost at like they are following same thing, but at a different pace and different level. Like giving an example, safety might be a big concern for even a small, like even just a junior engineer in Canada and US, whereas safety might be only a big thing for somebody at a higher level in India. So that is just the difference of their level of approach. But at the end of the day, we need to be making sure that everyone is working safe and we are keeping the lights on.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Anand. Thank you very much, Madhu, like for the question in the chat. Like all the attendees, feel free to drop any question. You're going to assign here for the speakers. Moving to the next question, is more like a interesting question. It's like if you can just say like one challenge that you faced in your life and how you overcome that. It's going to be like in the volunteering side and professional side and university side. So feel free to choose one. And we are going to start with Bala.
Damn, man, always me.
No, we are rotating.
No, I'm kidding. Oh, the biggest challenge. I had a very big challenge in my starting from my college days, is that I grew up being I considered at least myself to be a calmer kid when it came to speaking with a group of people or whatnot. I was able to do very good with one-on-ones, but when it's a crowd, it used to be a little bit of a challenge. At the same time, for me, exploring things and figuring it out by myself is something of interest. But if it's laid out in front of you, clear and easy, it wasn't much exciting for me. So my freshman year, the biggest challenge I had was that everyone was talking about IEEE. We had a very vibrant IEEE student branch in my freshman year back home in Hyderabad. But then I went to those meetings, and then I figured out that, hey, everyone talks about everything related to flexible electronics, software, app development, whatnot. Nobody talked about what we're going to do with how to keep the lights on, because we still have load shedding schemes back home. Okay. And then, at least in my city back then, it was like, if it's summer, when your loads are like very high, you expect a 4-hour power cut, because they used to do rolling load shedding in the different areas. And I used to hate that, man. I used to hate that. But then learning the basics, right, and reading the textbooks, we used to be like, okay, all right, I see okay, we need to generate, I don't know how many of you play the game Factorio, but it will help you understand more of how you bring the load and source together. So for me, that was a big challenge, is how can we make an impact and figure it out. But then going to college, you feel like you learn everything, but you won't, right? So nothing in the textbook would say what's going to be happening outside on the grid. So yeah, I went to the freshman. So my two biggest challenge at that time was figuring out how to motivate people to join and create a group. And second thing was, why is nobody talking about power and energy sector? This was like 2008 or 7, something around that time frame. So it wasn't a hot topic back then. But then having the vision, developing all that strategy and everything was a big exercise, but fun at the same time. So I went to these IEEE meetings and then asked so many people. Nobody knew there was a PES, Power and Energy Society, back then. So I went to, power plant management companies within the city. I drove up to them, went in the bus, figured out there is a PES thing. So we kind of took their help to establish a chapter in my college. That really helped me, start talking to groups of people, right? I was able to go to my college classmates and be like, hey, this sounds good, man. Maybe this will work out for us. Maybe we can do some research or maybe an internship, something like that. And, well, gladly, the small group we had, everyone is still with the industry. The rest of them moved to computer science. We still stuck together, and some of us are still in the group. So my biggest challenge was, having being capable of talking to people, and that necessity forced me to develop that skill. And I carried it over all the way here, and I think that's helping me a lot in my job these days. So, I think that's the biggest thing that I was able to resolve using IEEE as a platform. Yeah.
That's perfect. Thank you very much for sharing, Vala. Now I'd like to invite Lysian.
Okay, I was thinking about the most challenging experience because even now I'm challenging myself because I don't usually speak in English. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. Okay, but I always remember an experience in my first internship, because like I said before, I was working for a mining company. These guys are really tough, and I work in an electrical engineering design for the mining. um, and one of the our clients, something like that, suddenly wanted to change an entire strategy of the electrical design 1 week before launch. So my boss encouraged me to take lead on putting together a new proposal. This was challenging because the mining client, didn't feel comfortable about a young professional woman leading the whole proposal. Of course, at first I got angry with them, but then I understood it's not common for all the school people. They don't feel confident giving the opportunity for young people, and also women are underrepresented in this field. So I think you have to demonstrate that you are really capable, and I did it. And the client at the end was really happy about my job, and then I always take the opportunity if I had if I had the opportunity.
That's so nice. Yeah, like when we are in touch with like customers, it's a hard thing, right? Because we are in the name of the company.
Yeah, and I also want to add something. Mining clients here in Peru, it's like, whoa, they are the best clients ever. So you have to take care of them always.
Right, I see. That's fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing, Lizzie. And now I'd like to invite Anand.
Thank you. So I would say for me, one of the initial like major challenge was when I was planning to do my undergraduate studies. I was very much confused between which field I would be choosing for. Like I was confused between software or computer engineering or electrical engineering, and there was a lot of hype saying, "Oh, you should be going into computer engineering because that is the only field in future." But I was more inclined towards the power side of the system, and I was like, I don't have much knowledge because just doing a graduate from school, we won't have any kind of experience in this thing. But I mean, I was talking to some of my dad's friend, and they were able to explain me about the difference between the software industry, where like people might be doing a lot of coding, which I was obviously not liking it, but at that time, and like somehow I was able to decide that I will go for power industry after completing my bachelor's. When it was time to choose for my master's, I again decided like, okay, I have done my final year project in the power system, so I let me try to get more exploration in this area. And I'm thankful that I choose that particular path because right now I'm liking the industry which I'm in, and I'm sure I will be enriching myself in this particular area. And with this thing in mind, like back home, we don't have any kind of like we have kind of option to get feedbacks, but like not much in the sense where we get a lot of the talking options. Like giving an example, as Bala mentioned, that speaking skill was one of the things which we lacked back in India. Like we don't interact that much with more people as compared to here. When I did my master's in Victoria and then started working as a professional, joining a lot of IEEE clubs and conferences. So I mean, I was trying to develop myself more and more day by day, and one of the things which helped me was joining the Toastmasters club in my office. So while I joined, I was like too shy to just go on stage in front of like 15 people and give my first initial speech. But at the end of the like year or something, I was able to do kind of 2 or 3 speech in front of like different clubs within the region, which was a bit of challenging for me before. But overall, joining and like trying to get uh, more expertise in this particular area, you should be able to push yourself hard to do whatever job is hard, like whatever job you think is not good for you right now. So speaking was one of it for me, and I would say that IEEE has played a major role in improving some of my basic intrapersonal and extrapersonal skills. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much for sharing that. I just think about here like it would be nice to maybe bring like someone like with like the old school and see like their challenge and our challenge nowadays, right? So like Liz like work with like business and like we need to get in touch with customers. You need to have like speaking skills. So the things change over the time, and now the engineers are not like just like mathematicals and stuff, but we need to have like all these skills. Thank you very much for sharing that. And we have one of our last questions. So now we are going to start with Lysian, and basically, if you can explain like how to keep up the level of patience and enthusiasm in IEEE. So we know that our first task is always like job or grad school or like teaching, but like what motivates you to be like after hours like having calls and like as Anand said with IEEE and get engaged with like sessions and volunteering. So if you can share with us.
Yeah. Okay. IEEE gave me the opportunity to develop all this amazing experience, all this amazing conference, networking, and everything like we are doing right here, right now. And from me, I also have the opportunity to do the mentoring program, and I really think that it was very important to jump people um, to so, to find a mentor, because you can need some support in your first steps like a professional. And from my point of view, IEEE means all the kind of networking experience, new experience, and also give me the opportunity to develop some skills that university don't usually uh, take the consideration. Everyone's career is a journey. um, it's normal to feel frustrated or worry about your future. And sometimes you think, okay, maybe I'm not the best student. I don't have the best grades, but also because many problems in your life. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. It's not matter a lot if you also have something to share, something to volunteer, um, some skills that you develop as volunteering IEEE PES and Women in Power. And that's why I'm continue in this amazing organization.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Yeah, like IEEE becomes like a complement of like our studies and also like professional life, right? Thank you very much, Lysian. Now we move to Anand.
Hello, everyone, again. So, I mean, I would say, as the question is like level of passion and enthusiasm for IEEE, my wife used to say, and my still says that IEEE is your second family, because after my work, I'm always in IEEE call. So for me, when I need to take permission, I need to take permission from two people. One is from my boss in office, and one is from my boss in the house. So fortunately, I'm able to get those two permissions. And for me, getting involved in more things is meeting more people, getting more knowledge from them, and trying to see what we can bring it together for other people, and how to see how to make it a better option for everyone, or a better world in general. And I would say, like, I'm not a big contributing factor in that, but I'm at least contributing something and getting help to somebody's future, or like trying to get some help from them. And when it comes to the enthusiasm, I would say appreciation is a big factor. So I would say, even if we are doing any small kind of job within IEEE, if we get appreciated by somebody senior to us, it means a lot to a volunteer. So I mean, it's nothing, nobody is doing it for any kind of monetary value or any kind of big rewards, but it's all like out of respect for somebody, and like trying to help them, or trying to get help, trying to help yourself as well. And for me, all the mentors or all the senior IEEE volunteers whom I'm working with are very, very hardworking and helpful, and they are very supportive. That there might be a point of time that you are having a time constraint, and you might not be able to get something back to them in like timely manner, but they are supportive that we are doing this kind of volunteering role along with our day-to-day job as well as our family life, right? So that's a big kind of motivation from senior members.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Anand. Now I'd like to invite Bala.
I had to come up with something unique, right? So
It's a challenge for you.
well, I mean, it's a challenge, but an easy challenge. The reason I say that is, not everyone would be motivated with the same thing.
Yes.
Not everyone would enjoy money. Not everyone would enjoy the power. Not everyone would enjoy a complex problem, solving a complex problem. Let me put it that way. So you got to pick your poison of what's going to motivate you, right? So at every few years, you got to ask yourself a question saying, hey, what's next? Right. And once you ask that question, you come up with some answer. And if you don't come up with an answer, you talk to a few people and come up with an answer for yourself. Now, once you know what you want to be or what you're going to go to, right, you need resources and an environment that will help you achieve your goal, right? So, for me, IEEE is a platform where I can go and get something out of it, right? So, as I started my work and job and everything, I felt like, hey, maybe there is something more with the data that we do. And being on the power engineering side, you don't really get to do a lot of data visualization, data analytics, and business intelligence stuff. So for me, IEEE is a platform where I could go and toss in an idea and see if they will let me explore it, right? So IEEE PES, Jessica, Frank Lambert, late Frank, and rest of the group there, when I pitched them idea about business analytics for PES and marketing, they were nice enough that they said, okay, let's do it as a pilot project. So we have a working group right now under LRP that we take all the data together and look at strategies and see what will work, what would not work. So as you start learning more, you start going to a higher level of thinking, how is this going to impact the business, right? And how you can mathematically prove it. So that is something that you might not get an opportunity to do in your day-to-day job. And the risk of failure there is very high compared to risk of failure when you're doing it as a volunteer. So it's a free experimental domain for me. I would come in, do something crazy. If it works out, great. I will take that back to my office and apply it there. If it doesn't work, it failed, right? So that is something I've been doing all this time. So we explored in Boston. We were struggling to hire people with substation design background. So I had a crazy idea. I was like, why don't I go to my university and we start teaching people the course that is designed around what we want to do, right? And our nature of the job, which is never in the textbooks. And distribution automation is never in textbooks. Business development is probably like partially in the textbooks, but not really how to apply it for power field, right? And then my substation design is never in no textbook, except for BLAK Tereja that talks about circuit breakers and transformers. So went back to the school, pitched this idea to my professor, and we created a custom course there for 6 months. Every 6 months, we trained them and we brought them back to the job, right? And they had same level of understanding of stuff compared to another internship, someone with an internship background. So that worked out great for us, right? So IEEE is a platform where you can go experiment stuff and figure it out, how it works, how it doesn't work. will it be beneficial to people? Will it be a big failure? We don't know, right? So I learned how to do web designing through PES, which was something that I wanted to explore, but I didn't know how to get a database or hosting website and whatnot. I did not have enough money to do it, so PES got me that stuff for free. So, so it's a good platform for you to learn and experiment. So I would say, before you guys come into PES, try to figure out what you want. And if you don't know, come to PES and join the mentorship program. I signed up for mentorship program since the pilot because that was a product from our LRP SC3 subcommittee 3. So there's an opportunity here. It's not just I repeat this in many of the presentations that we do, is that IEEE PES is not just you come in to do a leadership volunteering thing. There is more to it. You will do a lot of volunteering. At the same time, you can choose to be 100% technical person. Go to the standard committees, look at how it's going to impact the community. So you got to pick your poison, and that would keep you motivated. There is something for everyone. It's like a magic pot. You put your hand in and you get something out of it, right? Something that you like. So I that's my answer for that question. I hope I answered it without
definitely. Thank you very much for sharing that, Bala. I completely agree with you. In the volunteering, you have the chance to do mistakes, right? Sometimes in a company you don't have the second chance, but here we are everyone to learn, and we are giving our free time to try new things and have new experience. So that's really nice. Thank you very much. So yeah, this was our last question. So I would like to thank all the speakers, Anand, Liz, and Bala, for your valuable time on Saturday afternoon, and mainly for your valuable opinions and point of views on the IEEE and PES journey. This is a pot of gold for all the attendees here. To learn with you several years of IEEE membership, all the holes that you already get in the volunteering. So thank you very much for your time. I'm really glad you all attended here and participated as a speaker.
Likewise, man.
Thank you, sir.
Happy to be sharing stage with
before we close the session, we still have a video that we'd like to share. So Staj is going to share her screen. And
hi, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Bala, Anand, and Lysian for joining us today. It means a lot to us. So we organized this event as a pre-event for Powering the Future Summit. It is a flagship event of IEEE PES YP. So we have a small introductory video about this summit. So we will be playing it now so that we can outreach about this event as well. Yes, that's it. So again, thank you all. And now I'd like to invite Preeti for the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Steji. Hello, everyone. Myself, Preeti Warrior. I'm currently working as a renewable professional with Vestas, mainly dealing with the resource assessment of wind and solar farms. It is my pleasure to be part of IEEE Power and Energy Society Young Professionals Group, and especially involved in this particular summit as well, which is the Powering the Future Summit 2021, which, as Steji mentioned, is a flagship event and one of a kind, which we are going to introduce this year. And this is the first pre-event of this summit, focusing mainly on the US, Canada, and Latin America. And I'm happy that we have three great panelists who are able to join us today. And it's my pleasure to propose the word of thanks. I don't want to call each and everybody separately, but let me just take this opportunity to thank. Okay, just I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
So I would like to take this opportunity to thank Bala, Anand, and Lysian for joining us in this pre-event and making this session lively with your wonderful insights and experiences. And I hope that the young professionals out there feel more encouraged as a responsible citizen and contribute to their efforts in getting this community up. And I also take this opportunity to thank Conrad for the wonderful moderation done and for all the volunteers behind this event for making this a grand success. So just before closing off, I request all of you to be on the stage so that let's take a memorable picture. I guess Adidine is not connected to this, so probably is it okay we take the picture now? Yeah, yes, she's here. Good. All right, so on the count of three, I'll be taking the picture, or maybe those of you who are actually part of the StreamYard upfront can take the picture. Maybe Stagey, you can take one.
Just give me 1 minute.
Yep.
Something happened. Yes. One more to go. Smile, everyone, please. Just one more. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
I
we
appreciate
have
your time.
more